Hey, yo, what's up to everybody out there? Welcome back to the Round Table Talk, and I am your host, C Money, and we are back here again in history in South Florida, in the city of Miami Gardens. If you just watched our previous video, we took a tour. We first started at 151st Street and 22nd Avenue, where the borderline of Miami Gardens and Opa-locka resides, and we ended up taking a loop around my old elementary school, Rainbow Park Elementary, here in Miami Gardens. And now we are taking a trip, El Bethel Tabernacle Church, Tabernacle of Miami. Remember in the last video we ended here where I said this used to be a barber shop, and I believe there was a corner store here, if I'm not mistaken, next to it, and then they got shut down and turned into a church, and it extended. Now we are crossing this canal. The name of this canal, I don't think they have a name on it, but we are crossing into the neighborhood. Oh, there is a sign that says City of Miami Gardens, because remember in the first video they had a little tag sign that said Miami Gardens. But we are now entering the area of Bunche Park. When you cross this bridge, you cross into the area of Bunche Park. I don't remember the name of this canal, and I don't see anything on here. Now this little walk through right here was a pinnacle of us back in the 80s and 90s, because this little walkway was the back way to get to and from our next location that we will be doing a video of coming up. Now this area is called Bunche Park. I have some relatives. I have an aunt and uncle that stays in this area, which I'm not going to visit, but this area is called Bunche Park, and it is named after Ralph Bunche, who was a civil rights leader and one of the first medical professions, and one of the first Nobel Peace African Americans to win a Nobel Peace Prize. His name was Ralph Bunche. Now this right here is called Bunche Park. Now many years ago, when I was living here, this was not here. They didn't have a football field, an athletic building, or recreational building, and none of that. This is called Mount Hope. This was a Mount Hope Baptist Church, which I believe now is closed, because looking at the parking lot, and the way that it looks like this church been closed for quite some time. You got Gucci's food store right there, and another history is being made here, because this is the only one that I have seen so far in a while. When was the last time you have seen an Amoco store, or Amco, or how you call it, Amoco or Amco store? I have not seen one of them in God knows how long. So right now we're coming up to Northwest 157th Street and 22nd Avenue, and we're going to make a turn here. And this is First Baptist Church of Bunche Park. I've been here before, because I went to, I believe, Vacation Bible School here, of that nature. I wasn't a member of this church. The church that I'm a member of, I was in Liberty City. This is the Bunche Park pool of Miami Gardens. And this gas station has been here for years, but the name has changed drastically, and Amoco probably was the recent name change. I don't know how long Amoco's been here, but this church has been here. I mean, not the church, the gas station has been here for a while. Now, this area has drastically changed throughout the years that I have not been in this area. You know, I can't tell you the last time. I said it's in the previous video, the video before this. I have not been in this area in over 20 plus years. I have been to Opa-locka, because I come to Opa-locka a lot. You know, I go to the flea market. You know, I still have ties in the area. So I have not been back to this area in God knows how long. So for me, it would be like, you know, it's like going down memory lane. Now I know back in the day there used to be bus service that came this way, but with the better bus network and everything that changed, they have ceased bus service in this area, you know, because this used to be where people, like, for people who was catching a bus, and who know, because there used to be a bus here called Route G that went from 27th Avenue, and it went through this area, and it took you to over there to the beach, to Miami Beach. And it took you, and back in the 90s, it took you all the way to South Beach. And then when they started regensifying the bus service, it only took you to Bow Harbor and Surfside. And then eventually the bus service got regentrified again to where it doesn't run in this area. It runs in another area. It'll still take you to the beach, but it don't run in this area. So kids used to catch the bus from here, get off here, and walk this way. Now this is St. Philip Neri Catholic Church. Now this church has been here for a while, and if you know about this church it's a Catholic church that's in the area. Now I've never been inside of this church, but I've always seen this church, and it has been a pinnacle of the area. And that little play area that you see in the back, I don't know if you can see it, that's been there for a while. A lot of this area is still the same. Like a lot of the houses you see are still the same. A lot of the businesses probably are still the same. They just have drastically changed hands, whether they change management. Like the gas station, the gas station has probably changed names so many times, and now it's the Amoco station. And the same with a lot of the corner stores and a lot of the businesses that's in the area where they closed down and we opened up. As we saw a church on 22nd Avenue that was called Mount Hope Fellowship. That probably used to be like a mechanical shop. It used to be something before it became a church, and then that church was there. And now, as you can see, the church is no longer, because somebody ripped out the AC and somebody ripped out the windows look broken up, and they have a lot of trash in the parking lot. So that church is no longer there. Now I don't know if the church still exists to where they moved somewhere, but I know that the church at that location is no longer exists. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are now coming up to our next location. If you saw in the previous video when I was talking about the backside of a building that I said we was going to cover in our next video, here it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is North Dade Middle School. That's right. If you've ever been here in the area, this is the only middle school in the area. A lot of areas, they have multiple elementary schools. Not too far from here, there's a Bunche Park Elementary School that is named after Rauch Bunche, which is also the name of the neighborhood we are in. Now, this school opened up a year after Rainbow Park. It opened up in 1957. But in 1957, it opened up as North Dade Junior High. So this was a junior high school before it was a middle school. So I honestly can't tell you what was the grade levels at junior high schools, but I guarantee you they probably the same as high schools, but it's just they call them junior high, but as time changes, they change the names and it became North Dade Middle School. Now this is the tennis court area, which I highly doubt that they use for tennis court, because I don't know what student, when I was in here, we never played tennis court. And the basketball court, I remember the basketball court. Now the building you see back there is the gym area and the gym of the middle school. I remember the gym. So if you saw in the previous video, you saw that the doors was open in the back of the building. The back of that building sits along the canal of that lake that sits there. And that lake, a lot of kids used to use that lake, that back street that I showed you at the beginning of this building. A lot of the kids use that as a way to get to and from the school. Instead of coming all the way around and coming around this curve to get to the school, they'll just cut through on the side of the lake and they'll come into school, because there was always like a little side entrance or so, or like a gate you can jump or something like that. Now, throughout the years, this school not only has a middle school, but it has a magnet elementary school. When I was school here, they had a magnet program here. There's a North Dade Center for Modern Arts or something like that, or Center for Arts or something like that. So they had an additional building attached to this school where it was for advanced elementary school students. Rainbow Park is a magnet school. I forgot to mention that in the first video. They, had a magnet program and everything, because most of the elementary schools have magnet program. Mr. Jeff Rettori is the principal, which I don't know who that is. North Dade Middle School, home of the Thunderbirds. Now, but back to what I was saying, this school had an extra building, which was North Dade Magnet School or home or something. I forgot what it is. Now, I can't honestly tell you how this school has changed drastically. It does look like the school has the same building. They just remodeled it and redesigned it, because it still kind of looks, well, no, This is why I say if you don't visit your childhood area after you leave, it is hard to tell how your school looked from back then to now. I'm quite sure if you Google a lot of pictures from back then, you'll see, yeah, you'll compare the schools to, you know, the past, how it looked in the 80s and 90s to what it looks like now. This is the area I know where the buses used to pick up at. And I remember that we used to come out here and try to, when we get on the bus, you'd be like, we got to go home and watch the Power Rangers, or, we got to go home and watch this and watch that and stuff. Okay, this is the elementary school, North Day Center for Modern Languages. That is the name of the elementary school here, because it was like an advanced elementary school for kids. And actually, this school looks kind of different from what I've seen. I went here for my 7th and 8th grade because when I left Rainbow Park, I left in the mid 90s, and I was the last group of kids to go there as 6th graders, because at the time they was eliminating 6th grade from elementary schools, and they was moving 6th grade to like middle school. So they was going to do grades kindergarten through 5th grade for elementary schools, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade for middle school, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade for high school. So at one point you could do 6th grade at elementary schools, but they was eliminating. When I was in elementary school, I was the last group of kids that was the 6th graders at Rainbow Park, and they were saying every kid after 5th grade from here on out will have to go to 6th grade at the middle schools. Now over here, this building here is the School for Modern Languages, and it was also connected to the portables and stuff that they had for North Day. Now North Day, they had portables as well too, but not many. And this building right here is the Modern Center for Modern Languages School, which is the elementary school. So you can only imagine the confusions, with a lot of kids. You try to go to this this class, but then you think it's in this building, but you think it's over here in this building, but it's over here in the main building. So you can automatically see. Now this school stretches far out of here because this is Northwest 157th Street. Now, as you see, we are coming up to what is to believe 17th Avenue. And remember, I walked all the way from 22nd Avenue. Now we're coming up to 17th Avenue. And this school stretches. Now the back end of this school over here, this is probably the area that the Center for Modern Languages use for either a parking lot, because I see there's a parking lot back here, and I didn't even know there was a parking lot back here. And also they use this area for the elementary school, because this is the basketball court and probably the gym area. All of this was not here when I was in high school, when I was in middle school here. Like a lot of this stuff got built after I left. Like I said, back in the early 2000s, in mid 2000s, there was a grant for a lot of the schools, got educational grants to where they rearranged and modernized a lot of the schools here in the area. I don't know if I mentioned back in the day when I did an episode of the Round Table, when I was doing the Liberty City Poke Bean projects, I said that Miami Northwestern, the original school got demolished in the mid 2000s or early 2000s, and they rebuilt the school. The original school sat on the corner of 71st Street and 12th Avenue. The new school sits further down on 71st Street, and the old area where the school used to be at is now the track and football field. So a lot of the areas they got revitalized to different, the school still is in the same location, but a lot of this has been, modernized. Okay, the entrance to the parking lot is here. We're eventually going to turn around and head back that way, because this is not like how Rainbow Park was, where you get the loop around. Because remember, the back end of North Day Middle School is a lake that is on the back end. And as well, they have a lot of these, if you seeing what I'm saying, Center for Modern Languages, there, it looks like their mascot is Panthers. Now, if you're seeing what I'm saying on these things, now here is, I'm going to show you this right here. Dr. Steve Gallo III. He is the school board member of District 1. Now, I honestly can't say if he was the guy that replaced Robert B. Ingram after his passing, because, you know, if you're not really into politics, or if you're not really into, like, this is not, I don't live in this area no more, so I don't keep up with who was in this area. I remember my county commissioner was Betty T. Ferguson, and she eventually retired from being a county commissioner, and the commissioner that took her place was Barbara Jordan, and eventually Barbara Jordan left her seat, and I believe she retired from county commissioner, and at one point, Trayvon Martin's mother, who is a resident here in the in this area, I believe she's a Miami Garden resident, she ended up running for commissioner of District 1, which is the district of Miami Gardens, Opelika, certain parts of Miami Lakes, certain parts of North Miami. You know, she is the District 1, and she ended up losing. I think it's Oliver Gilbert, if I'm not mistaken. I know it's somebody. I don't remember who it is, you know, because throughout the years they have changed hands of, you know, city commissioners and stuff like that. But Steve Gallo, I don't know if he was the school board member that replaced. No. He wasn't the school board member. It was somebody else. I forgot his name. He was a school board member, and I think eventually he passed away after a while. And I forgot. Wilbur T. Holloway, I believe was his name. And he was I think he was a state representative at one point. And he eventually, you know, like Dorothy Benoist Mendigo, she once was a state representative, and she now serves as school board member of District 2, because a lot of these state representatives and a lot of these congresswomen, like Frederica Woodson, who I mentioned in the previous episode, she was a school principal at one point, and eventually she became school board member of District 1, and then after a while she became a state representative, and now she is Congresswoman Frederica Woodson. It's the same with Dr. Benoist Mendigo. She was a state representative. I believe she probably worked in the school system, and now she is the school board member of District 2, which is my district that I live in now, which is the Little Haiti, Liberty City, Overtown, parts of Midtown, and other parts of the central part of Miami. And so Wilbur T. Holloway was one of the school board members. I believe he passed away not too long ago, a few years back. I'm not for sure. I'm going to have to do my research. And he was a school board member. I don't know if he was the one that replaced Robert B. Ingram when he passed away, but I know he became a school board member, and eventually, you know, they switched hands for school board members after a while. So this, that's Stephen Gallo, or whatever you call it. So, okay, so now we're walking back this way to go back to the front towards 22nd Avenue, because I would have did a loop around like I did with Rainbow Park, but since the back part of this school is nothing but a lake. Now, I went through this school in the early to mid 90s, because remember, I was an 80s baby, and I was born in the 80s. So I ended up going to Rainbow Park in the late 80s and early 90s, and then I ended up attending school here in the mid 90s, and then I ended up going to high school. Now, this school, like I said, has changed drastically. It opened up in 1957 as a junior high school. Now, the area here is called Bunche Park. If you want to know, there was one famous person that lived in this area. And I'm going to tell you, if you remember Family Matters, the TV show Family Matters, that starred the great Jaleel White as Steve Urkel, the mother that played Harriet Winslow, which is Jo Marie Payton, is from this area. Now, if you Google her name, it tells you that she is originally, I believe, from Albany, Georgia, but her family moved here and they lived in the Bunche Park area of Miami, which is a neighborhood in the Miami Gardens area. So she lived in there. Now, my mom said one time she did go, and that she did come to her church where I grew up in, and that was as I got older, you know. She was like, oh, I saw her at church and everything, but I don't know if she actually went to this school, and I don't know if she actually went to Rainbow Park, because, you know, Bunche Park Elementary is not too far from here, and I'm not going to do an episode of that, you know, because after this episode, this will be the end of this area. Yeah, She lived in this area. I can't honestly tell you. It's March 20th to March 27th. So we are on spring break at this present time. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to do the video now, because I didn't want to do the video during school hours where there's a lot of kids and a lot of traffic and stuff like that. I wanted to do it, you know, where it was less traffic and stuff. But yeah, Jo Marie Payton, she was a resident of the Bunche Park area. Honestly, I can't tell you, and I don't think if you try to Google it, that you can find the house that Jo Marie Payton stayed at, you know, because they're probably not going to tell you. She's probably done been down here and came to the house and then told the people who lived in the house, or maybe her family still owns the house. Who knows? Maybe when she got famous and she said, hey, I want to buy the house and keep the house in the family and stuff like that. So who knows what may have happened with the house. But at the present time, you know, I don't think she lives down here anymore. She's a big time celebrity, so I'm sure she lives somewhere in California or New York or somewhere where all the celebrities live and things like that. But yeah, this is oh my God. So this is, it has, the name is on here. It says, hold on, North Dade Middle School and Center for Modern Languages. So they had it to where they have both names on here. North Dade Middle School. The North Dade Middle School signage is there, and the Center for Modern Language signage is over there. And I honestly can't tell you what this building was right here, because this is probably, you know, I don't know what this building used to be. I think the cafeteria was somewhere over here, if I'm not mistaken. I can tell you right now, I don't remember too much. One thing I remember is I wore some shoes that had like little clips on the side, and I fell and I broke my arm, and I ended up at school, and I ended up going to the doctor at which was now called Miami Children's Hospital in the south part of Miami, and I had to get my arm checked out, and I had broke my arm, and I remember that. But I do remember I used to take private school bus service here. Like, my mom used to pay $10 a week for me to get on a private school bus. And if you don't know about private school bus, there are contracted bus services who has to have license to operate and own a bus, and also has to have, you know, approved by Miami-Dade School Board Transportation System, to where they can pick up and drop off kids at their school. And I remember his name was Victor Monroe, and I used to take him. He did Rainbow Park too, but I never took him to Rainbow Park. I always took, you know, the county bus service, you know, the public school bus services. You know, I used to go to the bus stop and wait at the bus stop, get on the bus, get to school, you know. But with him, I took him to my middle school. And one of the memories of taking private schools is like the last week of school, and I don't know if they still do this, it always used to be a 3-day week, meaning that the last day of school used to be on a Wednesday, and the bus services used to always still charge people $10 for bus service. And I know my mom used to say, I'm not paying $10 for 3 days. So a lot of the kids, they used to walk to school because their parents did not want to pay the full $10, because they felt like if it's only 3 days of school, we should get a discount, maybe $7, maybe $5, because we're only getting picked up and dropped off. Now, I'm quite sure the bus service now is probably $20 to $30 per kid now, because, you know, as you know, cost of living has gone up and the cost of gas has gone up, and these buses use diesel gas. They don't use regular gasoline, and they use former county school buses. A lot of these private bus services use buses that were owned by the county, and they probably got sold off or auctioned off to where they don't use them, because, you know, as years go by, especially with bus services, a lot of these buses, like county buses and stuff, they only use them, and after their 10-year span, because I was once told this at one point, after 10 years, they're supposed to retire a lot of these transit buses, you know, and a lot of these transit buses get used past 10 years, because 10 years is supposed to be the lifespan of a transit city bus. And I believe that's the same thing with a school bus. A school bus supposed to only last you 10 years, because they have to upgrade, because now a lot of the school buses have air conditioning. Miami-Dade has recorded cameras on school buses now, to where if a car, you know, when a school bus stops and the stop light comes out and the passenger, like a car passes the school, they record them, And if they violate, if any car violates violates, because they record any activity that goes on around the school buses. And if something happens or there's an incident around the school bus, they have cameras to record it and things like that. So a lot of these people, they get their own private buses, and they buy them out for a cheaper price, or they get auctioned off, or they sell them to privately owned bus companies, and they fix them up and they use them to transport kids from different schools. A lot of schools had them. They had it at Rainbow Park. Rainbow Park, when my brothers and sisters used to go, when my siblings used to go to Rainbow Park, it was called Clara. Her name was Clara. And I don't know if they used it for Rainbow Park. I believe they used it for North Dade. But when I went to North Dade, they had Victor Monroe. I don't know if the man's still living. I don't know if the bus service that he has is still in the family or stuff. But I'm quite sure they have bus service here at North Dade Middle, private bus service. And the kids used to get on the bus, and they used to pay $10 to get on. Every week you had to pay that $10. And every year he used to have it where he would plan a trip to go to the youth fair with some of the students from his bus service, and he'll tell people, if y'all want to go to the fair, let's do it. Because one year he wanted to plan a trip for the kids and their family to go to the fair, and he was like, okay, everybody get, you pay like $20 or so for the bus, and we'll go to the fair. I'll drop you off at the fair, y'all go to the fair. Well, it never happened because they didn't have enough people to actually get it going. Because I thought it was a good idea to say, hey, let's have where we get all the people who, hey, if you're like, he'll tell the students that get on his bus, because he used to do morning bus runs. He used to where he'll get up early in the morning, and he used to go pick up all the kids that go to Rainbow Park, because at the time North Dade Middle started at 9 o'clock when I was in high school, and we got out like around 3:30 or so. We got out like sometime like after 3, like at 3:30 or 4 o'clock or something. I don't remember. I know it was like 3:30, 3:40, something like when we got out. I don't remember. And he used to get up early, and he used to pick up all the Rainbow Park kids first, drop them off, and then he'll go pick up the kids from North Dade and then go drop them off. And every now and then he'll pick up somebody on our route to North Dade that goes to Rainbow Park. I remember one time one of my cousins went to Rainbow Park, and it was the first day of school, and he was riding the bus with me, and he got dropped off on our way to North Dade Middle. So, and things like that. But this is our childhood. This is North Dade Middle. Opened up in 1957. This is 157th Street. We are at 19th Avenue, which if you walk on the other side, you will be, if they had a bridge, you will be on your way to Rainbow Park, because 19th Avenue is at Rainbow Park too. And this is the Bunche Park area. If you want to know more about Bunche Park, you can Google Bunche Park. They also have information on it in Wikipedia. It doesn't have when the area got created. It just has that the area is named after Ralph Bunche. Now it did say that there was a Bunche Park Senior High School from 2002 to 2020. If you Google it, because it shows you the schools that are in the area. It has Bunche Park Elementary, North Dade Middle School, North Dade Center for Modern Languages, which is the elementary school, advanced elementary school. And it said that Bunche Park Senior High School, which was from 2002, I believe, until 2020, if I'm not mistaken. But I gotta find that out, because I don't even know where that was, and I was still living in the area until about 2003 until about 2004 when I left the area. So I don't know what it is. So now we're gonna walk back to 22nd Avenue. So this is it. This is the North Dade Middle School / North Dade Center for Modern Languages, and this is the Bunche Park area. If you want to know more about Bunche Park, you can Google Bunche Park area. If you want to know about Miami Gardens, you can Google Miami Gardens area. If you want to know more about North Dade Middle, I don't think they have a Wikipedia about it, but I'm quite sure they have a lot of information about it on the modern day. But I don't think you're going to get a lot of information on its previous, from the past. Because if you Google North Dade Middle School, they're gonna give you the website for Miami-Dade County Public Schools and stuff like that. But Google it. I believe I'm part of the Alumni Association for North Dade Middle as well. I'm not mistaken. If I am, I gotta go look it up. But this is the area. We are now at Bunche Park Drive and Northwest 157th Street. And we are in Miami Gardens. I thank y'all for watching this episode. Don't forget to check out me and my previous episode going to Rainbow Park Elementary and doing all of that, And as always, email me. If you've ever been to this school, have you ever been to the school as a junior high school, or you've been to the school as a middle school, comment at the bottom of this page. Or if you ever had any kids or siblings or relatives that went to this school, you can also comment at the bottom of this page. You can also email me at roundtable305@yahoo.com as well. We are now coming back up to 22nd Avenue and Bunche Park Drive. I thank y'all for watching this. As always, if you have any history in your area you would like to share with us, go right ahead and share with us. But as always, stay safe, stay blessed, stay hydrated. And I'm finna drink a little bit of this water, and I'm heading back out to my next spot. This is the Round Table Talk. I am your host, C Money. Take care, and I will see you in a little bit. Take care.